Hello, this is Aaron Squire coming to you guys again. Tonight, we've got episode 48, Hallowbanned. And on tonight's show, we're going to be talking about some of the updates and news with the Hex TCG game, and then some updates on the lawsuit. And then there was some bannings in a specific community, which we're going to talk about. And then we'll get to the deck doctor. We're going to make some sort of a Halloween-themed deck. And on top of that, just want to remind everyone, there's going to be no deck build with the Squire next week in observance of Halloween, so you can take your kids out and do some trick-or-treating. You don't have to worry about missing the show or missing it live or missing out on winning some prizes and stuff, because there will be no show. So that's typically what we like to do here on Deck Building with the Squire. We're welcoming back Armies of Mordor again. He's back from his tour of duty at from Mordor. He's the Eye of Mordor. I had to summon him up. He's always there watching me, so you know, it's good to have him on the show again. So I guess we'll just move right into the news. So we'll go to the show screen. That's what I named it. First things first, the update from last week. We had, as everybody knows, a stress test last week, and everybody, including myself, expected it to crash when we tried to start it up, and then you know, there were some 128s that they did after that. But they said that they collected a lot of good information for large tournaments like that. That's the next step, is what this update really is talking about. Armies, what did you think about? Were you in there on that? Did you help out with that at all? Or
I did. I was helping on all of my accounts and one of my friends who couldn't log in because for some reason Hex crashes his laptop. I helped him stress test too.
Right. So Armies of Mordor was doing his part with his 17,000 accounts, and I was doing my part with my one lowly account. So definitely a good thing. So something we talked about before the show, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me to have a 9,999 player tournament, because for the most part, I mean, that's going to be a lot of rounds, and I don't think anyone's going to want to sit through that. I mean, that's got to be at least a couple days. So I would think that they're actually stress testing to do multiple large tournaments at the same time. I mean, Armies, what do you think about that?
Well, I think the 9999 is probably just a placeholder. I doubt they expect to get anywhere near that before they get a huge player base. Just too many people that play at different times for a small player base like us to fill those kinds of tournaments. But there are certain ways that they could make tournaments that have a lot of people and not have nearly as many rounds. Like, they might try to keep them at 4 rounds, but have it so that there's like qualifying tournaments, so that like whoever, you know, 4-0s these 256 mans or 500 whatever mans, you know, whatever size they feel is important, to then have everyone who did that in that month or whatever can participate in some tournament at the end of the month for like the championship for that month or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I mean, with 32 players, you have 5 rounds for that type of a tournament. So you know, it kind of goes up. It doubles for every additional round. So 32, 64, 128, and then 256, I believe, is 8 rounds. 8 rounds is a long day. So I would hope that they would never push it past the 256 player cap, but you never know. Speaking of tournaments, tomorrow, and tonight and Sunday, we're already started to do the VIP tournaments. They released this update yesterday. It's another chance to get those Inquisitor alternate arts, those Menacing Grulk alternate arts, some extra gold. Just for coming out and playing, you get at least 1 pack, so you get your tournament fee back, because your tournament fee is $2. Now you do have to put in 6 packs for this one because it is a sealed. So Armies, you already played in one of these this morning, right? So tell me what happened to you, or how'd you do?
I went 3-1 and 2-2 on both of my accounts at the same time. I only had time trouble in one game, but I was losing that game anyway, so it wasn't so bad. I played a almost mono ruby splashing blood for 3 murders and 0 champion power.
Well, yeah.
And I played a Wild Diamond Dimid deck that was like Plant Garden and Scriveners and Incantation of Righteousness. It was like a life-gaining type deck.
Right.
that one went 2-2. The Mono Ruby Splashing Murders did 3-1. So
Yeah, lots of removal in that one.
yep.
So yeah, make sure you're getting out. The next tournament is going to happen right after the show is over, actually. So right around probably 8:45 or 45 minutes on the hour. I would suggest you guys queue up if you're trying to get into those, so you can get your chance at the alternate arts. Additionally, though, one of the cool things is that there's been such a good response for these that they're opening up additional tournaments if the tournament fills up. I guess the original tournament did have 256, but they weren't very confident that they could do 256 players with the construct of having to do sealed. So that's why they made it 128. So that's why they're going to 15 minutes later they'll open up another tournament. And I guess maybe even if that one opens, if that one fills up, they may even open up an additional one, a third one. So I'm going to hopefully maybe get onto one of those later, tonight or tomorrow. I only have one account, and I'm pretty sure that I only have like one VIP, whatever. So I should only be able to play one of these, right? Because you were talking about you could play multiple because you have multiple tickets or something, or.
Have you purchased Did you purchase the 4800 VIP Platinum
No, I
VIP
didn't purchase
thing?
it. No, I just have my Kickstarter stuff, which I
Okay,
think
well,
automatically gives me some VIP stuff.
yeah, the Kickstarter gives you some. So I got one from Kickstarter and one from the 4800 Plat. So that's where I got 2 tickets from on one account, and then on the other account the same thing. So,
Right. Well, what
and
about?
then I have
And
a bunch
I
of
missed
leftover
last month.
tickets.
Completely missed last month. So do the tickets expire? Do you know?
Last month's tickets don't expire, but
Oh wow,
going forward, this
they
month's
will.
tickets do expire, and all
Okay.
the future tickets will expire as well.
Well, maybe I'll get 2 of them in then. So moving on, some of the other Hex updates. This just came up. I guess that they are now having a scheduled players. So people that stream a lot. We've got Serious, Infamous Neo, Mythic Fish Mom, Function Fails, Alucard, and Pentachills. All these people are streaming on specific times, days of the week. What I've seen done with other games as they were up and comers, like Smite, is they actually tried to fill every hour of the day. So you had a specific day that you would come in and you would stream for them, and then they would give you stuff to give away to your viewers. So it would be really great to see Hex move into that, where it is that we've got basically people that are not really employed, but they kind of work for the company, just streaming, and I think that would be a great positive step forward for streamers. What do you think about that?
I think it's cool. I especially love that, it helps build the Twitch community, which is already fairly good in my opinion compared to a lot of the other games communities. Like, I feel we have a very, very strong, supportive Twitch community. So I really like them giving us more stuff to give away to the viewers.
Well, it doesn't say that they're going to get giveaways, but I would expect them
It,
if
it
they're going
says
to.
at the bottom
Oh,
that
that's
they're
right.
going to have giveaways. So I imagine
Right.
that means that
They
they
were
mailed them
supplied.
stuff to give away. Yeah.
Right. Right. So moving on, there's a lawsuit update for Cryptozoic, and I'm not going to go over a lot of this. I didn't log in to actually read it this time, but for the most part, Cryptozoic is moving into or not Cryptozoic, but Hex LLC is moving into versus Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast. They are moving into a discovery phase, and they're saying that it could be early 2016 before the trial starts. So they have to basically go through and they have to request documents, and some stuff is for your eyes only, some stuff is like only the lawyers get to see. There's just a bunch of convoluted stuff, but at least it's an update to see where that's progressing and how that's going. Not really too much to say here. I don't know if you have anything to add, Armies.
I'm not too worried about it. It'll
Yeah.
be a long time before it ever makes it to court, and it'll be a long time before even that's over. Even if it rules one way or the other, there's going to be years of appeals if it goes the other way or the wrong way. So I wouldn't
Right.
worry about it. It's too much in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, they have specific people that take care of that for them so they can focus on making the game, which is, that's what real companies do, right? Pretty sure if Wizards of the Coast were to sue me as an indie developer for something I made, I would just cave because I don't have the kind of resources to hire somebody to fight them, So it's good, but it's also bad. So I mean, it does take up resources and time and puts stress on them. So that's not appreciated. But yeah. So speaking of things that aren't appreciated, though, have you heard about this? Like right now in another community, we'll just say the Magic community of players, there were 2 bannings in this past week. 2 players got banned, basically for sleight of hand shuffling. Just something I kind of wanted to bring to light, just in case people weren't aware of that. Something it is that digital players of all sorts really have less to worry about. There's always going to be cheaters out there. People that even use the digital stuff that they're going to cheat, or if maybe a card is broken online and it doesn't work properly, they'll use that card to the fullest and they'll be like, oh yeah, well it's supposed to work that way. That's already happened to me playing Hex. But this these bannings were I don't know, they were pretty high profile because one person won a Pro Tour qualifier or something, and it was just outlandish to watch him shuffle.
It was the finals of the SCG Open standard, I believe.
Yeah, so it really sends a strong message. Yeah, I think that it's a good thing that they banned the players, but at the same time, now we've got the repercussions of the Reddit community that's being like, make sure it is that you're not trying to go out on these witch hunts against a bunch of other players. It's just it makes for a lot of problems when we have to deal with judging and a lot of manpower, and then they have to like judge whether it is that someone honestly made a mistake or whether it is that they're really actually there's some malicious intent behind the way that they're playing the game. So just one more thing that is just taken care of by the computers for digital players of all card games and all type of games. It's just that's not as much of an issue for us, but obviously if there's a cheat, someone's going to find a way to use it to their advantage. Let's see, what else do we have to talk about? I think that was about it, and we can move on to the deck doctor. That was actually really quick on the news there. It was actually, yeah,
it's a pretty light week.
Yeah, it was a pretty light week. I mean, we had so one of the interesting things that did happen this week is there were a ton of patch updates, but they were patch updates that were like, we fixed the stability issue. There's no reason to go over them, but there was like 8. So it's good to see that every time there's a patch that Cryptozoic is notifying us, the community, that they are very tentative when it comes to that. We also had tournaments down for some time periods during this past week, but it wasn't really a big deal. So tonight's deck doctor, we're going to be working on some sort of Halloween themed deck. So we got to put some vampires in here and some witches and some other stuff like that. So we're obviously in blood already. I'm not sure we're going to go into too much other things, but it doesn't have to be good. We're just kind of building something that's going to be kind of fun. I guess if we're building something that's kind of fun though, that means we can play with set 2 cards. What do you think?
Sure, why not?
Sure, yeah, let's play some set 2 cards. So
might as well throw in the PvE cards too.
Well, I don't know, because, yeah, I mean...
There's not really that many spoils,
yeah, there's not that many. Yeah, I don't know. I think we'll put the PvP ones, because there's more chance of people actually getting to see those sooner, so I'm not going to worry about the PvE ones. I do want to make a PvE deck eventually on Deck with the Squire once we have PvE, so but that's further on down. So I guess we can put this Lich in here and some Bone Warriors. Just trying to find some Halloween themed stuff. Of course, Elliot's screaming downstairs, so now he gets no Chick-fil-A. That's right. He wants to go to Chick-fil-A tomorrow. That's our deal, and now he's not going to get to. I don't think I can. Well, I guess I can put the Determined Zombie in here just so I can cut him later. Shadowgrove Witch. I hope that we get to keep the Shadowgrove Witch in. I've always been a fan of this card. Although I don't pick it a lot in draft. I actually probably need to value it a little bit higher in draft.
Yeah, it's pretty good in draft. The problem I always have with cards like that is, A, it's random, it might not hit, but B, it also doesn't synergize very well with your other discard spells, because it's like, oh, well, you corpse fly me, I'll just discard the card you hit with the witch, and it's not a big deal.
Right. Alright, let's see. Let's just go with blood and no shard for now, because I think that, I don't know if there's any real vampire-ish or things that are non-blood. We'll probably be mono blood. I'm not sure that if there's anything else really.
Well, there's some other witches, but not too much else.
Well, everyone's screaming downstairs. My wife's sitting them, putting them in line right now. It's Halloween themes. Come on, we got to find some more Halloween cards. There's got to be more than just this. I mean, orcs. Okay, not really. Come on, there's got to be this. The High Tomb Lord, I guess, kind of. So I guess this Castigator's kind of like Halloween theme. He's got the wings. He's flying around, you know. Cut those down later. Just making the Halloween theme deck.
Grant the Infinite.
There was actually at my local store, they actually did a night where they were supposed to do all Halloween stuff, so all your troops had to be either, they had to either be a vampire,
Werewolf, or zombie.
Yeah. That was pretty interesting. You could have other cards too, but yeah, you had to run vampires, werewolves, and zombies. Demon, I guess that's kind of Halloweenish, right? Banshee definitely's got to be in there.
I have no idea what the subtype for Grant the Infinite is, but it looks kind of like something someone would dress up as for Halloween.
Oh, Headless Executioner. Oh, that's got to go in here. Duh. Let's see. We're being really casual tonight with this one. So, in case you guys didn't catch that before. Inquisition is always good to have. Extinction, why not? Seems very Halloweenish. Spire
Zombie Plague.
Yeah, I already put that one in there. Yeah. Cock it twice. Minion of Yazukan. Now this guy's coming out of the ground. I got to put him in there, right? Minion of Yazukan. Got to put that guy in. He's coming out of the ground.
The bunny that never dies.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Bunny. What else? This always reminds me. This makes me think that it's supposed to be like Corey or something. It kind of looks like Corey or something like that. It's got the glasses and the mustache and stuff. Oh, they are totally not going to Chick-fil-A tomorrow. Just saying. I'll have to take armies out to Chick-fil-A instead.
Probably be a bit of a drive.
I don't know. I installed the teleporter.
I'll just get some chicken nuggets from downstairs. And call it good.
Call it good. Starving Lich. I guess we can put 4 of these in there and we'll see what happens. Alright, let's see. Let's see here. What can we do? So, I guess the first cut's going to be like Determined Zombie. He's determined, but not determined enough. We can cut him down to like 2. I'm just trying to build my curve right now. That's all I'm trying to do.
High Tomb Lord might be reasonable. He looks kind of Halloweeny.
Yeah, I thought about putting him in there, but you know I didn't. But seeing as you just mentioned it. Oh, and who's going to be our champion for this?
Probably the Abomination creating one.
Oh yeah, the Abomination. Yeah, yeah, that's great. Yeah, this is not a good deck, by the way, people. Just thought I'd mention that. Let's see, Abomination guy. What's his name? Do you know what his name is? Oh, actually,
I could probably find it.
Actually, I could probably just organize by champion. There we go, and I'll find him. Oh, you know what? I think he might be a different shard. Oh no, wait, here he is. Bun'Jitsu. This guy.
Yes, Bun'Jitsu. That sounds right.
Yeah. There we go. Bun'Jitsu. I dare somebody to play this deck. Alright, so we got that guy.
We actually put in some removal, like terrible transfers and murders, maybe.
Well, I've got the playset of Vampire King and Zombie Plague and stuff. I guess we can pull some of these Headless Executioners out. Take those.
Terrible transfers got like a Grim Reaper on it or something, even if he's lying on the ground dead or something.
Let's look at that. Terrible transfer. Yeah, I suppose we can put that in there. That's acceptable. That's terrible. Let's see. So we'll pull these High Tomb Lords down to like 1. And Castigator down to 1. It's terrible. I guess we'll take the Malice Demon down to 1. One of those. Hey, we only have to get rid of like 12 cards here. Starving Lich. I really don't know if, I don't think Starving Lich is going to be any good, really, unless there's something that gives you a ton of like threshold really fast. I mean, I suppose
can be played in mono blood. I mean, it's very efficient. It's only one mana. Sure, you have to. It's just not a turn one play. It's just.
Yeah.
Well, then you're not playing mono blood.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I don't think it's the greatest.
But I mean, it's basically a 1-drop that has to be removed or trades with anything on the ground. It's like the greatest blocker for control ever. Turn 4, you're like, oh, slap down Extinction. Next turn, you play 4 of these. No, just kidding. You're not going to have that many. But
yeah, that would be silly.
But every time you put 1 down, it blocks everything on the ground unless they are okay trading.
Trading, yeah. It forces the trades. Yeah, I suppose that's pretty good. Let's see, what can we get rid of here? We need to get rid of some 4-drops, but we don't want to get rid of Vampire King. I guess we'll get rid of 2 of the Witches. Let's see, and then we've got all that Extinction. Extinction's just kind of going to be necessary for this deck to have a chance. I don't know. I don't like this Lich. I guess we can get rid of Determined Zombie first, though. That seems like the most important one to get rid of.
Zombie, maybe Bone Warrior, unless we play Necessary Sacrifice or something to draw cards.
So get rid of the Executioner. I'm just kind of basically getting rid of the bad cards now. I could probably get rid of the Malice Demon. Although I kind of want to keep him. Alright, it's coming together a little bit better.
People dress up as dragons is pretty bad, right? Replace that Malice Demon with Urnaz.
Yeah, I suppose that they do, but you know, let's see. When this dies, it goes underground. Then it comes. It's permanent +1/+0. This isn't that bad, actually.
It's actually really solid.
I don't think that what's it called? The spider, the Inquisitor, is really that Halloween-y, though. He doesn't look that Halloween-y.
Probably not.
Unfortunately, there's no orange cards. I mean, we could get away with putting some Ruby stuff in here, but I don't think there's anything in Ruby that's like witches and
Ember Spire Witch. I don't think there's anything other than that.
Other than that, yeah, that would be pretty bad. That'd make this bad deck even worse. Making bad decks. That's what we do right now. Those are my 6 drops. I think I like the Castigator more than the High Tomb Lord, as far as like what's more Halloween-y. This Castigator looks a lot more Halloween-y.
Castigator is strictly better card too, so.
Yeah, that also helps. Yeah. I guess I can get rid of a Shadowgrove Witch. Shadowgrove Witch could actually counter like what's it called, Inquisitor. It could actually counter it.
Potentially. But you know what else counters Inquisitor? Inquisitor.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
You know what else Inquisitor does? Never die.
Oh, you couldn't even play it with the Witch, though. It wouldn't even hit. It doesn't even hit the board. Let's see. I think this is going to be it. This is a pretty quick episode. Like, there's really not a lot going on. I think it might be better if we do a quick episode anyways.
If Witch and Inquisitor, you can still play it. It'll just only shrink a guy by 1. Because it'll still be a 1/0 or a 1-1 or whatever. It would be a very expensive permanent -1 effect. Unless you had some Inspire for it to make it better.
Everybody's crying tonight. I don't know what it is. I'm surprised there really wasn't just a lot to do tonight. This deck came together so fast. This is like the fastest I've built a deck in a while. But I guess it makes it easy when you're only looking at one set of cards.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have a lot more interesting things to look at when we get to, 2 or 3 years down the road when we've got a dozen sets or whatever,
Oh yeah, that'll definitely be a lot better for this type of thing, because then we don't have to like obey format rules for this type of deck. We can actually we may actually come up with something good. Let's see, 61 cards. I have to get rid of one card. What card do you think we should get rid of?
I would cut Bone Warrior probably first.
Yeah, I was
because
thinking about that too.
if we don't, do we have necessary sacrifice in the deck? Because if not, I would just like cut Bone Warrior altogether.
Oh yeah, we should put that in here. Yeah, that makes more sense. Necessary sacrifice. We could also put Life Siphon in here, but you know, I'll just throw it on the reserves. Throw that Life Siphon, the Curse of Oblivion. That's kind of Halloween-y. We could probably main deck one of those. Curse of Oblivion looks like some sort of like book that someone would put out on their front door to scare all the kids, you know. Let's see.
I kind of don't really like it as a main deck card. I think it's only like good against control. I don't think it's very good in the other matchups, personally.
Chaos Key looks pretty Halloween-y. Throw that in the reserves. So you could play the Lich with adaptable infusion devices to get it into play, but that seems pretty silly.
Yeah, that seems like you're overdoing it. Like, I think the Lich is meant to be just a body that prevents them from getting through on the ground. Like, yeah. That's kind of how I see it. And they just didn't want it to be like, they didn't want an aggro deck to be able to go turn 1 Starving Lich, turn 2 Starving Lich, you know, just speed in and kill people. So they wanted to give it enough of a drawback that you had to be a slower deck to play it.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting that they can do, like, that's design space that they have available to them for this game that you couldn't do in
yeah, same with
game.
the diamond one, the target and troop, or what a target card gets invincible or whatever. That's 4 diamond. I wonder what the other ones will be. I imagine that's going to be a whole cycle of cards. I imagine there'll be one in Ruby, Sapphire, and Wild. I think Wild would be the easiest to play. But
we gotta play this guy. Zombies you control have lethal. Revert.
Oh yes, that guy. Izydor.
Yeah, this guy's got to go in. I keep looking to try to see if we can. This guy's probably a zombie as well.
Yeah,
that actually makes this deck more of a zombie deck now. Now we actually have a theme. Zombies. Then we got Zombie Plague in here. Fortunately, Inquisitor is just a Venom Warlock, not a zombie. Although people would probably still play it in this deck to make it good if this actually was a thing.
Minion of Yazukan is a zombie.
Yeah, now I definitely don't want to play the Starving Lich in here. Get out of here, Starving Lich.
If you wanted more zombies, you should play like Corrupted Afterlife.
Yeah, that's such a bad card, though.
But I think it's going to be really, really interesting in set 2 because of Phil Cave. I think it's going to be great. The ability to resurrect 3 troops from the graveyard and then revert them at end of turn back to their original state is going to be like a really interesting deck.
I don't know, because you're revert and transform up to 3 target troops and graveyards into zombies.
Basically, you're paying 6 mana to reanimate 3 creatures, and you're playing it with Phil Cave.
Right, but they're just zombies. They're just 2/2 zombies, you know.
But if you have Phil Cave, which reverts all creatures at the end of turn, they'll get reverted back to what they were originally before they became zombies.
I don't know if that'll work.
It should.
Yeah, I suppose it should work.
It works with Vampire King when he hits your opponent and he turns a creature into a vampire. If you revert the vampire, it turns back into whatever it was.
Wow. Yeah. That's some tech. That's a tech move. We might end up putting this determined zombie back in the deck. I really don't want to though.
I don't think it's worth it.
No, it's not worth it. That guy's a warlock. I'm looking for zombies now.
There's not that many zombies in the first set or in the second set. I think you've got all the good ones already.
Yeah, I think I do as well. Unfortunately, a lot of these things look like they're close to being a zombie.
The other thing is that he turns any of your troops that are in your graveyard into zombies for you. So.
Oh well, then.
Yeah, it's a one shot, I believe. He can return 2 cards in a graveyard into zombies and put them into play under your control,
Oh,
which
that's pretty
also
sick.
synergizes with Filcape
Right,
because
and Extinction.
it lets him revert the one shot, so you can continuously one shot him, so you can keep bringing back other stuff, and it'll revert the zombies back into their original cards too. So you could really make a crazy reanimator deck with Filcape, Izydor, and Corrupted Afterlife. It would be pretty hysterical if
It
someone
would
could make that work.
it'd be nice if blood shin hair battle hoppers were zombies. Just saying. Or maybe in the future we could get some shin hair battle hoppers that are zombies. I think that would be nice. Just saying. That should be a thing.
Okay, but then you have to play Command Tower, otherwise they don't have any damage to deal damage to them with lethal, right?
Well, yeah. Well,
I
they
mean,
wouldn't
it's
have
throw one
lethal. I'm just
lethal
saying they're
zombie.
zombies. Well, yeah,
Well,
this guy makes sense.
Izydor, zombies you
Izydor
control
was.
have lethal, so
Yeah.
they would need at least one in power.
I would probably want to run 3 Izydor, actually. So, Minion of Yakuza, or Yazukan, that works
Best
pretty well.
zombie.
That's pretty solid.
Zombie that never dies, and if they block it, their guy dies, and then it comes back in 2 turns. With
Yeah, it's
more
really
attack.
good. That's actually pretty good. So I can get rid of Castigator here. We'll keep the Vampire King. Let's see. I can get rid of the Shadowgrove Witch. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll get rid of 1 Shadowgrove Witch. Gotta keep the Witch. I mean, it says this is a Halloween deck. This deck actually doesn't look that bad now. I mean, the curve is atrocious, but other than that, we got a bunch of 4-drops now. Ton of 4-drops. We might almost go up to 24 shards in this type of a deck.
Oh, I think this deck wants to be playing like 25 shards. And you up the terrible transfers a bit, I think. Maybe throw in 1 Pact of Pain just because.
Yeah. Let's see what happens here if I do that. I might have to get rid of a 4-drop here. Yeah, I think we want at least 24 shards in this deck. I guess I pulled the bone. I feel like we need to get rid of a 4-drop, though. We may actually have to pull a Vampire King, which isn't optimal. Or maybe Extinction. Maybe take Extinction down to 2 and move them to the reserves. Move to the reserves.
Maybe even just cut all of the Extinction and move into the reserves, because this deck is playing a lot of troops.
Yeah, it's just kind of aggro.
And you just rely on your murders and terrible transfers to get rid of the major threats.
Yeah, I guess we'll cut the Extinctions and we'll throw some Extinction on the side. Here. Side of Extinction with that. Let's see. I feel like we definitely want 3 Izydor. Go down 1 Vampire King here to try to smooth out this curve a little bit.
Izydor is unique, though, so he may or may not
but
3.
I feel like 3 is the most I can play of a unique, and I really like his effect.
It is a very nice effect.
I think it's worth it. I think it's worth holding 2 Izydor, because he's also going to be a huge target for your opponent. So having multiple in your hand shouldn't be as much of a problem. We're actually talking seriously about this deck now. You realize that?
I really like Izydor. I think he's going to be a great value card because, like, first of all, he's reasonable body by himself, and then he has an ability that basically just gives you 2 more guys. Like, he's gonna be a 3/3 with lethal, and then if he lives, or if you have enough resources to use his 1-shot ability, he's gonna give you 2 more 2/2s with lethal. He's gonna see play for sure.
Oh man, I'm clicking on the cards too much. Let's see. Let's refresh the page. We're really stretching out this deck, Doctor, by the way, to kind of fill the space of this. Let's see here. Vampire King. Yeah, alright. So put him back in there. 59 cards. I don't know, we could go up to 25 resources. I don't know that we need to. I think we're fine at 24 here. Our curve is a little bit high. I feel like 24 is fine, though. We're running Bun'Jitsu, but if you seriously want to run this deck, you probably want to run a better champion. But yeah, so just
Zared or Kranok, probably.
Yeah, probably
or
Zared
or whatever his name is these days.
Yeah, you'll probably want to run Zared if you actually try to play this deck once these cards come out. Just for the funsies on your Halloween, you know, if you're just sitting around the house being like, I want to do something for Halloween in Hex. I'm going to play this deck then, Squire build. I have to put a determined zombie back in here, man. I need a card.
Sideboard it.
Let's look at the blood cards. Go back to just this mono blood deck.
Do you need one card for the main deck?
I need one card for the main deck, yeah.
Just throw in a random Incubation Slave. That's got Halloween written all over it.
Well, how does that have Halloween written all over it? Explain that to me.
It's cobwebs. It's a guy in a spider web.
I'm walking into spider webs. I think you should leave a message. I'll be right back later. Incantation of Fear. That's probably not a good one. Hop Hero, no. Claw. Yeah, I guess Incubation Slave. Yeah, that's kind of, yeah, pretty Halloween-y. We can throw that in there, sure. We got rid of our Headless Executioner because he's just so expensive. We should have a Headless Horseman that costs 3. And it's like a 3/2 or something. That should be it.
3/3 can't block.
3/2 with Swift Strike. Can't block. Headless Horseman. That should be a thing. I can make cards all day, people.
It'd probably have to be a Blood Diamond card. Like it'd have a Diamond Threshold, has Swift Strike or something. Because Swift Strike
didn't turn out too bad. I'm not too disappointed with this deck right now. I thought it was going to be really bad, but it's actually not that bad. We have a good curve. We got troops.
It'd be pretty bad if you're playing against a deck that doesn't have any troops in it, but.
Well, yeah, you side out. You would go.
There's a lot of cards you'd have to. You have to lose your zombie plagues, your murders, your terrible transfers. There's a lot of dead cards in this deck if you're playing against like Troopless Mill or something.
Yeah, but that's not really a big deal right now. I mean, most decks have troops in them, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. I mean, you do have Curse of Oblivion you can side in against a deck like that. Against the mill deck, Curse of Oblivion could deal pretty well with that situation.
Yep.
Extinction. I think we would pump up the Extinction and take the Life Siphon down.
I'd cut the Life Siphon and at least put Pact of Pain in the sideboard.
Yeah, I was thinking about Pact of Pain. I think that's a good idea too. I still think it's amazing. We're almost at 50 episodes of this show, and we've been building decks for like one set for almost 50 episodes. That's like 50 decks, okay? That's a lot of decks for one set. Already. That's a lot of decks for one set of cards. I'm going to be so stoked when we finally get new cards. PvE cards, I don't care what kind of cards at this point. Still trying to get some of the Cryptozoic people on for the 50th episode. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. They haven't contacted me yet, unfortunately. So hopefully that'll happen. I did, however, get contacted by a French guy. I forget what his name is, from the forums. So I might have him on at some point in time. He's going to interview me, so I'll be on his show. I guess he has a show or something I wasn't aware of. So I'm all about promoting and helping out the community as much as possible. I don't know if I would want one Pact of Pain or 2. I feel like 2 is better. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I still think one main deck, but
Oh, 1 main deck. Oh, yeah, we can do that. Sure, it's Halloweeny enough to make it into the main deck. It makes the cut. Sure, we can do that.
at some point you gotta, be like,
Get some
this
gas.
card is. It's like this card is so good, and it's not Halloweeny. I mean, there's like a skull on it.
That's true. That's true. If it has a skull, that's the indicator if it's Halloweeny or not, right? It has a skull on it. All right. I guess I can be down with that. I can get down with that. I think it'd be funny to have like 4 zombie plagues running at the same time. I might go
Yeah, I always
Parlay
thought
Vows,
it'd be really.
Parlez-vous the
It'd
French.
be really amusing to do like 4 zombie plagues in a Mastery of Time deck and be like, zombie plague, Mastery of Time. And be like, oh look, an army of zombies has appeared.
I think SFCgo110 is asking me if I'm going to speak in French. Funny thing about that, I actually have been to France once to play Dance Dance Revolution, and yeah, all the years of French class in school, and I never thought I would be in France, and there I was in France, not able to talk to people in French besides telling them like my name is, or like I like this or I like that. Yeah, I really couldn't. I didn't learn very much in my French class. So, yeah. Although someone told me today that like third of the world speaks French or something. That seems a bit high.
That seems awfully high, but I guess there are a lot of countries in Africa that speak French too.
Right.
So.
Right. Let's see. So what's one less Curse of Oblivion? So we have 15. Another Pact of Pain on the reserves, I think, is good. 3 Curse of Oblivion. I think that's fine. Curse of Oblivion is one of those cards where you hope, Jim Appel, Aaron Squire, you hope that it actually did, like it took an effect on the game, but it could also deck thin your opponent and make it worse for you.
Well, it deck
kind of
thins your
two-edged.
opponent of a card that you choose.
Right.
So it's like they play a counter magic on your card, you curse it, you don't have to play around counter magic anymore.
Right.
They play
right.
Extinction, you curse it, you don't have to play around Extinction anymore.
Sure.
So it's one of those cards that's really, really bad when your opponent is playing aggro because they don't care what they draw.
Right.
Any troop is good, and you're just wasting a card to get rid of 3 copies in their deck, well, whatever. But it's really good against control because there's a limited number, at least currently, there's limited numbers of like their removal or their disruption or whatever they're playing.
Yeah.
But you curse an escalation card, and that's
probably the best use it has. Is just escalation, I'd say. Yeah, for the most part, that or Extinction, like you said, or counter magic. Those are probably the 3 top things that it deals with very well.
it deals with Inquisitor pretty well.
Another thing I saw on the forums where people were talking about playing around Extinction and stuff on the Reddit forums, and someone was like, well, play Curse of Oblivion. But the thing is, like, whenever it is you're trying to combat Extinction, or a specific card and a specific shard, it would be nice to combat it from another shard, so you don't have to play that shard. That's usually the forethought.
Well, that's why
if that's not possible, then
counter magics, yesterdays,
right,
and then Diamond, and the next set's gonna have Hopeheart Unicorn.
It really just feels like Wild is like one of the most ill-equipped to deal with a lot of the shenanigans that the other shards have up their sleeve.
I've been saying this from the beginning, but I don't really want to like name the card and like specifically, but in this other game that we know about,
right,
there were these cards that whenever they were discarded from your hand, they would just get put into play instead, or and they couldn't be countered or things like that. There just isn't that kind of like
right. It's just not in the game yet. Yeah, that's
they just don't have the effects that Wild would have that the other game has that makes Wild better against those kinds of strategies.
Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. Also, we're not seeing anything that forces someone to sacrifice. That's another thing that would be nice to get around the what do you call it, spell shield, because spell shield gets pretty strong in a lot of different formats as well.
Yeah, edict effects.
Yeah, something like that.
I've been waiting for one of those, or even like just an exile card that doesn't cost like what is the one they released in Diamond, like 7 costs? I know that's like a limited removal spell, but it's like exile card. But
or maybe an artifact that when it comes into play, like you can sacrifice it and remove all of the permanently remove like all spell shield from the board state. You know, that would be kind of nice to have. I think that would be I mean, that could be reasonable. Like maybe a 4-cost artifact that does something like that. I think that's reasonable.
Well,
4 cost and like 3 to activate it.
To put it bluntly, I believe there was a card in Magic called Glaring Spotlight that cost like 1 that made it so you could target your opponent's cards with hexproof.
Right. Well, that was only
And then it had an activated ability where you could sacrifice it to give all of your creatures hexproof and unblockable until end of turn or something like that.
Yeah. It actually didn't see that much play, surprisingly.
Well, hexproof isn't as big of a deal in Magic because they have edicts.
Right. Yeah, you've got your Lily and whatnots.
You just get blown out by Chainer's
edicts,
you die, you know.
Yeah. Like SFC is saying, like, it's like we're supposed to deal with shenanigans by playing bigger troops. Like, I think the biggest thing is I tried playing Fist of Brigadon again recently, and I could ramp pretty well and get the 6 resources, but all the time I didn't even have the threshold to play him. So I was like, well, this sucks. I really want to play Fist of Brigadon right now, but I can't.
I really hate Fist of Brigadon in this meta right now.
Yeah.
Like, he gets... First of all, you have to play a lot of ramp to get him out as quickly as possible, otherwise you're going to get turned over by just a regular aggro deck instead of a ramp aggro deck.
Right.
He gets... Like, if your opponent Inquisitions you and that's in your hand, it's pretty obvious that he's not going to hit the field. He's just gone, you know? He gets Solitary Exile. He gets Interconflicted. He just gets bounced to days by the Sapphire deck with Buccaneers.
Right. Yeah, he gets taken care of by a lot of main deck stuff now.
So there's just not a real deck that he's like good against in the meta right now. So it's just... I think when we get the other wild cards that help combat Grolks and things like that, like your guys can't be tapped or whatever, then maybe Wild is a better resurgence. But for the moment, I think Wild is in that place where you have to just be playing like
you gotta play like really aggressive Wild, where it's like, you know, you're 3 drops and under, and
either that or you're just playing Wild for Pact of Life and Wrathwood Colossus in that deck.
Sure. Yeah, Wrathwood Colossus like overshadows.
Is okay.
Yeah, Wrathwood Colossus overshadows Fist of Brigadon so much. I mean, it's just it's kind of annoying actually. Plus, you know, the old meta where Fist was good we just didn't have access to a lot of the removal that you have now. You know, you just couldn't deal with them very easily.
Just to be fair, in the original meta, Eye of Creation was 5 times more broken, so it was a lot easier to be like...
that was for one Hex TCG Pro tournament. That I
know, but I know, but like when you could Eye for 3 and, you know, you ramp 3 resources or whatever...
Right.
It made it a lot easier to play things like Fist or Wrathwood or Battle Beetle or, you know, whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of the deck I put together, was basically like 4 Fist, 4 Wrathwood. I just basically went all in on all the heavy drops and stuff, and it's like, if I didn't draw the right stuff, then I couldn't play anything. You know, if you draw all your heavy drops, then you're
the
really
thing I hate about that deck was, like, I'd always go, like, turn 2 Puck or whatever, and then Puck would just get bounced. It's like, gosh darn it, now I have to play Puck again next turn, and then it gets bounced again. And then it just gets murdered or whatever. It's like, this isn't a very, like, Puck is great.
We're not in a good spot right now.
Puck still has to be on the field when it gets to your turn, or Puck doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt about it. Yeah, playing Puck in that deck, and yeah, he's a very clunky card to play with. because you have to like do so many bad things with your deck to make him worth it. And even when you do, like I was playing something like 16 like 5+ drops in that deck, and it still felt really bad. Like when I hit Puck would hit the table, and I'd be like, all right, he produces 2 resources. Wow, that wasn't worth it at all. You know.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times what I actually used those resources for was not actually casting the big troops, because as I cast each big troop, I can't cast the other big troops. So I ended up like using it for like Eye of Creation anyway. So it felt like all I was doing with Puck was just using him for resources to not play the big creatures, you know. So I don't know. It just didn't feel really good. I have a hard time playing 4 Puck in that deck for the same reason I have a hard time playing 4 of any unique.
I don't think 4 Puck is necessarily that bad, because usually your opponent is going to want to deal with your pucks as fast as possible, so you can't ramp out a giant threat. So it's not as bad as cards like that just sit there as unique for a while, like Lord Ben. Like Lord Ben, you really would love to be able to play more than one of him out at once.
Right.
I mean, Lord Ben is also a card your opponent would like to kill as quickly as possible, but even if they don't kill it, they can still put out a flyer that blocks it. So it's a lot harder to deal with a creature that all it does is exhaust itself to use its ability.
It would be neat to have a card that took away the uniqueness permanently from all of the cards in your deck, because that would put you behind a little bit. But like you could do that and cast it in a card in your hand. You'd have to, you know, maybe reveal it to your opponent and be like, all right, all my pucks are not unique now. You know, I think that would be not that broken actually.
I really have become a fan of Mimic because of the fact that you can use it on troops. Like my favorite is Archmage Renlock Mimic. Yes! I draw a card and I make another copy of Archmage Renlock, so that if you kill my Archmage Renlock, I can play another one.
Yeah, I suppose that would be good. So I think we'll go ahead and close out the episode. We've babbled on for quite a while here and built this fun deck. It's basically just a Halloween themed deck to for your pleasure. Once we have set 2, if you know, obviously set 2's not that, it's pretty far off maybe now, we don't know. So we'll just go over the episode. So tonight on Deck with the Squire, I had Armies of Mordor on again. Thanks for coming on again. As always, we went over some of the updates in the news in the Hex community. We got some tournaments going on. If you guys haven't queued up for your weekly, or for rather the monthly tournament to get those special promos, I suggest you do that now, because that tournament's going to launch in about 7 minutes from now. We talked about the lawsuit and the updates. They're basically in the discovery phase, and what we're being told is early 2016 is when the lawsuit is finally going to be sent to trial. But you never know. I mean, things could be up in the air for quite a while. And then we talked about some of the banned players in the Magic community and how it is that it's really like the differences between a physical card game and then the like a digital card game, and how we don't have to worry about that as much, although there's always going to be cheaters out there looking for exploits and stuff, so always be on the lookout and be vigilant about that. And finally, we did this wonderful deck doctor being Halloween themed. Again, reminding everybody there is no deck building at the Squire next week because of Halloween. So I want to make sure everyone's getting out there with their families and their kids and having fun on Halloween. Army, should I do a giveaway after the show? What do you think?
You did say that you were thinking about it.
I was thinking about it. We did get a lot of people that showed up here, so I guess I probably should do a giveaway. So I think what we'll do is I will give away 6 packs for those people that need to do, because it is sealed this weekend. So I'll give away 6 packs to a lucky person. What you do with it is your business. You can use it for draft or whatever. You don't have to use it for sealed. But I will give away 6 packs to one person tonight after the show, so stick around for that. And basically, until next time, this is Aaron Squire signing off, saying God bless you and your families, and try not to rage too much out there, and Armies of Mordor saying,
signing off.
All right.